Namaskar everyone. Welcome to lecture 29 of the course CSS, where we'll be talking about the CSS font and styling in this video over here. So without doing any delay, let us write down the topic over here, CSS font and styling. Here in this video, we are going to learn each and everything required to be known while you are learning font and styling. Means you will go from beginner to the advanced level. In order to use font into your projects, we'll learn how to use custom fonts from web or by downloading the font also. So let us so stick with us together so that we will learn about all those things. So for today's topic, we don't need much thing over here in HTML. Just we need a paragraph tag over here. In paragraph tag, we'll write down a random tag over here. So this is a random paragraph to learn about CSS font and styling. So this is our today's paragraph. Now after that, we'll open this in browser. So you can see the paragraph over here. So we have already opened that, and let us see how we can change the styling. So let us see the style CSS. We'll write down CSS font and styling. And as we have used paragraph tag over there, so that's why let us use that selector. So tag selector. And at first, we are going to talk about the CSS font over here. So our very first topic over here will be the CSS font. So let me write down that CSS font, not that CSS font family. So how to use font family then? You might have noticed whenever you have used Word, if you have used Word, then in Word you have to change the family as well, like Arial, Times New Roman. Similarly, same like that, we have a different kind of family, which helps to change the style of the text. So we can use that into the CSS also. So font family, the CSS property, and after that we have to give the value. You can see already here that we have been given some default value, which is given by the CSS itself. So we are going to use Times New Roman, which is the default one. So we do not need to think about it because Times New Roman is the default font family that is used in CSS by itself. As you can see over here, there are no changes. But if you will use others, like let us say, let me tell, the one as, okay, so LUCIDASANS. You can see that the font has changed a little bit. Yes or no? So that is done by the font family. Font family will help you change the styling of the text. It helps you change the font family of the text like you do in MS Word. Now you have to understand that whenever you are writing the font name and if it has got two word in it, then you have to put it inside the single inverted bracket or same like that double. So you have to be careful about that thing. Just for example, if I have got only one, like there is one font called as courtship. So if I have got one word only, then you do not need anything around it. It will be completely free. You do not need to wrap it around something. The courtship, you can see over here, it works. But same like that, let us suppose sometime we may not have got courtship in some kind of browser and it may not work in some kind of browser. Like the font which are given by the CSS may not work in every browser. It may work in the new version, but it may not work in the previous or the old version. So that's why if you have got such kind of situation, then as you can see over here, so if you see such kind of thing, then what does this means then? So this means that if this Franklin Gothic medium, this font family doesn't work in the browser, then the next one will become the priority one. That is, the next one will start to work. And same like that, if this next one is also not working or is also not supported in that browser, then the third one will work over there. So in this way, we could see the font family working a different kind of browser. And if none of them works, then by default, Times New Roman, which is the default font family for each and every devices or browser, that will start to work. And if I will write here, if I will click over here, MDN reference, you will see that we can see all the related things about the font family. You can see over here what kind of font, how it looks like, and same like that. If you go to the bottom part, then you will see here font family works in and what kind of font works in what kind of browser. Like you can see what I'm telling over here. Like UI monospace, we have got a font named as this. It does not work in Chrome. Look, it is not supported over there. The same like that, we have got series of other browser which does not support this UI monospace. Same like that, we have got other font also. So you can test this compatibility by looking at the MDN document over here. Now, how did I open that document? So go, if you go to VS Code, if you hover over that line, you will see here MDN reference given by the VS Code, and it will take you to that same link which I have opened just now, where you can see each and every detail about that CSS property. Not only CSS, there will be a document for each and everything required for the program. Similarly, after font family, we have got a next property called as font size. As you can see over here, we have got font size of text like this. By default, it is 16 pixel. It is seeing a little bit more, or it is the size is more because I have zoomed that one. By default, the font size is 16 over here. Now, if you have to change the font size in CSS, then what we need to do is that we have to use a property called as font size. The font size, and we have to keep value over here. Like, let us say by default it is 16 pixel, but if you want to make it larger, then you can give 20 pixel. Like it will see look a little bit larger. If you want to make it more larger, then 30 pixel. So we have given in pixel, but it is better if you keep the font size in EM or REM. So that's what we have learned in previous video. So if you haven't checked out that video, I will leave that link in the description box. So in this way, we can change the font size by using font size property. And same like that, we have our next one called as font weight. So you might have seen that we can make the text bold, or we can increase the boldness of the text. That can be done with the help of font weight. So it ranges from 100 to 900. If you give 100, then it will be the least value required for the boldness. Like 100, as you can see here, we don't have got any changes. But if you will increase the value like 500, you will see that it will start to become more bold over here, and it may not be supported for each and every font. So that's why let me comment this font family. You will see that, okay, fine, you will see over here. And after that, let me decrease this 100. Okay, look. So as we increase the value, the boldness will increase over here. Same like that, not only the value. So not only the value up to 900, we have got other value also over here, like bold, bolder, lighter, normal. So if I will give a lighter, then it will become light. So it is the default one. Same like that, if I will give here bold, it will become bold. If I will give here bolder, it will become bolder than that. So that's how CSS font weight property works. Now, same like that, we have got another property called as font style. The font style. So we have already seen how we can make bold. Same like that, if you want to make it italic, then we have got font style for that one. By default, it is normal. Same like that, you can make it to italic. So by giving the value called as italic. So font style as italic, then you can see that the text has turned into italic. Now same like that, we have another property also called as oblique, similar to italic. So, and not only that, we could use all this thing by using shorthand property also. Means you we could see that we have used font family, we have used font size, weight, and font style in 4 different lines. Yes, but we can use the same thing in one line also. Like what? How we can do that thing? You have to use a property called as font, and after that, at the very first, you have to write down font style, italic. Then we can make it bold, the font weight, and after that we can keep the font size 16 pixel, and at last we can keep the font family. So it could be Arial, and if Arial is not present, then sans serif. So in this way you can use the font property over here. As you can see over here, we have kept the shorthand property for the font. So, but you have to be careful over here that font property needs the order. It need to follow the order. So how then at first we have to keep the font weight. Sorry, we have to keep the font size, then font weight, then font size, and then font family. That's how you have to use the shorthand property. If you want to follow this order, then it won't work in your case. So you have to follow that. Just for example, if I want to keep a 16 pixel, then it does not the whole thing does not work over here because we haven't followed that same exact pattern. So if you are using this four thing all at once, then you can use this shorthand property. But if you are missing anything over here, like sometimes you may not use font size. Why? Because we may have to keep the default font size as given by the HTML. In that case, you want to use this shorthand property. You can simply write down three different lines where it includes font family, font weight, font style. After font, you could see that we'll talk about the style also. That is styling. So let us talk about that. In styling, first there will be the change of color. We have already talked about the color also. So if you haven't checked out that video, I'll leave that in the description. You can check out that video. So color, we can use this in different format. Like we will simply use the name of the color today. But we have also discussed about the color patterns like hexadecimal color pattern, then same like that RGB, RGBA, and HSL, and others. So if I will write here red, so the text will change into red. As you can see over here, our text has changed into red. Okay. The same like that, we have got next property for styling of text also. So that is called as text align. So we can align this text, right? If you write it right, so you will see that the text will go to the right hand side over here. As we have got alignment in the MS Word, which is called as the text alignment. If you write down it as center, then the text will come to the center over here. If you will write down here justify, the text will be justified over here. You may not see this thing, but if we make the paragraph larger, then you could see that how justify works over here, like lorem 50. As you can see here, the text has been justified. And if I would have written here text align as left, then look, it has gone to the left hand side and some space is remaining over here in the right hand side. But if I will write here justify, look, if you look at the left hand side and right hand side, it is trying to occupy all the space that is required in that line. So that is how justify works. After text line, we have a text decoration also. Like we have learned how we can make the text bold, how we can make the text uh, italic. The same like that, we have got next one, which is underline, and we can do that thing by using the text decoration property. In text decoration property, we have got a property called an underline. If we do that thing, you can see that the whole text has been underlined over here. If I will do here, dashed, sorry, next one, line through, you could see that we have got line in the middle of this text over here. The same like that, we have got overline also. So over line. The, uh, the line appears above the text over here. And by default, we have got another property, another value for this property called as none. If I write here none, then nothing appears above or through the text or below the text over here. That is the normal behavior. Now we have got another property for styling called as text transform. In text transform, we could change that into capital and small letter by using CSS also. If you write an uppercase over here, all the text will change into capital letter over here. Same like that, if we write here lowercase, all the text will change into the small letter over here. Well, if you want to make the first letter of each and every word as capital, like lorem ipsum, we have, if you want to make the first letter only as capital, then with the help of CSS, we can give a value to the text transform property called capitalize, and the first letter of each and every word will change into capital letter over here. As you can see over here, the each and every word has its first letter as capital. That's how text transform CSS property works. Now one, another CSS styling property called as letter spacing. So in letter spacing, like if you keep here 2 pixel, you will see over here, the distance between those letter will start to increase over here. The distance between this letter. But the distance between these two words will remain constant over here. It won't change. Just the distance between this letter will only change over here. We have to notice that. Like if I will make here 4 pixel, look, the distance between these letters have changed. But what if you want to change the distance between these two words? Then you can see here we have got a little bit of space between lorem and ipsum in this text. And if you want to increase the distance or decrease the distance between those two words, then you can use another CSS property for that one called as word spacing. So word spacing, let me write 10 pixel, then the distance between those two words will become 10 pixel. Like it has gone a little bit farther, but you may not notice that thing now. But if I will make it very large, like if I will write an 8 pixel, you could already notice that distance between the word has been changed. So that's how word spacing works over here. Now, if you want to change the height of the line over here, like you can see here, while I have selected that lorem text, then this blue highlighted part is the height of the line. But with the help of a CSS property called as line height, I can change that. Like if I will write here 40 pixel line height, look, the highlighted part has increased over here. Means the line, the space that is occupied by this lorem in that line from top to the bottom has increased over here. So in this way, we can use the line height too. Now here we have given in pixel, but not one in pixel. We can give it in other forms also. Like you can give it in decimal point also. So 1.6. So what does that mean then? If you give here 1.6, then it will act corresponding to the parent, not as a parent, corresponding to the default behavior. Like by default, if the line height is 10 pixel, then 1.6 means 1.6 into 10 pixel, that is 16 pixel. So that's how this line height works over here. Now, the last one called as the text shadow. So you might have seen in some kind of text that it will have a little bit shadow towards the X and Y direction. So what I'm talking about here then. So let us see that. So in text shadow, we have got the value. Let me write down the syntax over here first because it is a long property over here. Means it has got long CSS value over here. The first we'll write down about the X offset, then Y offset. Then next one we'll write down the blurriness, how blurriness we have to show in the shadow, and what kind of color do we need to have in the shadow then. So that's how we use the text shadow. So text shadow, let us say 2 pixel X in X direction. You may not notice anything over here. Why? Because we haven't given the color over here. So we'll give the Y offset, then blurriness we'll give it in pixel again, so 5 pixel, and color we'll give it as gray. As you can see over here, the color has turned into gray. Look. Now you may not have seen that thing because the blurriness is a little bit low over here. Let me increase. Let me change the blurriness. As you can see over here, it is seen clearly now because the blurriness is 0 pixel over here. But as you increase the blurriness, like if I will give you a 1, You can see here it has changed a little bit. Like now, what is x offset? You have seen the color, you have seen the blondness also. Now x and y offset, what do you mean by that then? So let's see this one. So as you can see over here in this text, that if you see the shadow has gone a little bit down and same like that a little bit towards the right. So down and right. So that is happening due to the x and y offset. As you read the x and y direction while doing a graph, it works similarly like that one. So vertically that is x and horizontally that will be y. So it has gone a little bit down. Why? Because of the x offset value over there. And it has gone a little bit towards the right. Why? Because due to the y offset over there. So like if I increase the y offset over here, like up to 10 pixel, then from the y direction, you will see here that it has gone down because the vertical one is the y offset over here, as we have learned in the graph while we are doing the math. Similarly, if I will write here 5 pixel, so from horizontally it will move towards the right hand direction. But if I will give it in minus negative, if I give the negative value in x offset, it will go towards the left hand side. So by default, the positive value goes towards the right hand side and the negative value go towards the left hand side. And same thing goes with the y offset also. By default, positive value will go towards the bottom, and if it has a negative value, it will go towards the top over here. Now blurriness, the least value that the blurriness will have is the 0 pixel over here. You cannot give less than that. Now these were all the things that has to be known while we are learning the CSS font and styling. So let me comment this part. Now we will learn how we can import a custom font into our project over here. Now for that one, let me remove this line. Okay. After that, we will start to write down all over here. We'll start to import font from the browser. So how we do that thing then? How we get font from other platform then? Like we have got one platform called as Google Font. We'll use that from Google Font. So this is the platform which I'm talking about over here. So font.google.com. I will leave this in description. You can check out from there. So let me see the collection of font over here. You can get a variety of font which you may not see into your project. You can see the Nepali font also over here. While you can see different kind of the font, like let us suppose I have liked okay, I need this font over here. So this feels good for my project. Then how we can get that thing? Simply you can test that thing also over here. Like type here to preview the text. Like if you have got a certain text and you want to know how that text will look like in this font, and you can write on that like knowledge matters. You can see the preview of that font in different kind of format. Like what kind of format do we have? Like italic, then we have got the value font weight also over here. This 500 which you can see over here is the font weight. So then we have got the bold one, we have got the semi bold, extra bold, and other different kind of font over here. Now let me use that into our project. So get font, and after that we have got here get embed code. You can get the CSS part. Also, you can get the HTML part also. First, we'll learn how we can do it through CSS. Then only we'll see through the HTML. You can see here, so web, Android, iOS, and Flutter, we have got different kind of format. We don't want this kind of thing because we are doing web development now. So that's why we'll talk about the font over here, font in the web only. So in order to use for CSS, click over this import, and you have to import that in the CSS. And after that, you have to copy this. Like we can copy that code from here also. Then here, write down font, sorry, At the top of your CSS file, right down there, and you have to remove this style tag over here. Toggle over. You can see over here, we have imported the font into our CSS file over here. Now we have to use that. So how you can use that thing? You will get to see that below that same code over here. Like how font family, you can see there, this is the code over here. Now, if I write down your font family quick sans serif, you will get to see that our text has changed into the same font. Isn't it the same font? Like if I will compare that, as you can see over here, this is the same font called as quick sand over here. If I'll go to inspect element and try to inspect it, like we will see the magic that can be happened through the inspect element. But for now, let us see whether the same font has been applied or not. Like inspect over here, and after that, styles. Let me remove this. Sorry. You can see over here towards the right hand side, I have got the mouse pointer over here. Font family is quicksand and sans serif, which we have used into our project. Okay. Now, similarly, we can also use other things like we have got font optical sizing auto. We can use the font weight also. We can use variety of font weight over here because all those font weight will be handled by this same import URL over here. So you don't need to worry like if I will keep here 400 or 900, will it work? So you don't have to worry about such kind of thing. You can certainly use that font over here. The same like that, you have got different kind of other um, font family also. You can use anyone from here as you like because the same font is made up of different kind of other font family like Roberto, Sans, Source, Sans 3 and other types of font over here. Now, what if you have to use through your HTML then? So you can do that by using this thing. You have to copy this code over here. The whole code have to be copied. Then go to HTML file, and after that, just inside your head, anywhere inside your head, you have to paste that. So like this. So how many lines are there? First one, second one, and the third one. So after you have pasted that font link into your project, if you have pasted that code, then you can remove this code from here, from CSS file, and still it will work into your projects. So it is working into your project. So one thing you can paste that into the CSS or you can use it to the CSS also. Next thing you can use it through your HTML file also. In this way you can use custom font from the Google font and same like that we have got font awesome and other platform also. But for now we'll see Google font only because it is the greatest platform for using those custom font over here. Not only that, we have one next thing also, that is we can download the font and use into our project. So how we can do that thing? We have got a website called as da font. We have got varieties of font over here. You can see we can choose different kind of font. We can find different kind of font for us according to your requirement. From this top, these are the categories, or let us say the font style that we need. So let's suppose I need the font called as the super medieval. I will download that. And after that, I will go to my folder with the project lights. So YouTube. Then same like that, CSS, then save over here. As it is in the JDP format, what I need to do is that I have to extract that. So I will extract that. Now, whenever we have to keep font, be careful about that thing. So we have to keep font inside the folder called as public, and inside public you have to create another folder called as the font. So that's where you keep the font. It means all the static asset that you need in a project, like your image, like your font, and same like that, other things, other kind of file that is static. Those all the things are kept inside the public folder over here. Now we have got the super medieval TTF. So Control C, then inside font we have got Control V. Okay. Now you may not see anything over here because we haven't used that font till now into our project. Just we have extracted that and kept into our folder over here, kept into our file or project over here. Now, how to use that into our CSS file then? So for that one, let us write down the code over here. So how we do that thing? Then we have to define that by using font face at the very first. The font family, we have to give it a name. And what is the name of that font? Super Medieval. So Super Medieval. So in this way, we'll define the font. And after that, we have to keep the URL, means the link where the font lies over here. So the font lies inside the public. So that's why from here, we have to go inside the public folder, inside public folder font, and we have got the name called as super medieval.ttr. And after that, we can use it into our project over here. Like how we can do that thing. So let us see. Then same thing. Font, weight, and sorry, not a weight, font family, and we have to give the name of the font over here. Super medieval. After that, you will see that the font is applied into our project over here. The font style, it is super medieval over here. Now, as you can see, the disadvantage over here that it takes time. Now, why? Because whenever you are using a custom font over here by downloading and keeping into your projects, you have to be careful about this extension over here. We have used TTF, but TTF is not the better version that can be used in your project. We have got extension like, such for example, extension such as WAFF, the WFF2 and TTF and OTF. These are the extension of font that can be used into our projects. So basically we'll get to see TTF more, but if we use WAFF, this is the best one, and same like that WAFF2, this is the best, and this has got size lesser than other format, and it is accepted in a different kind of browser also. It's a smaller one, and it is the most compressed font that can be used in our project. So if you use this font, this extension, this type of font into projects, then your project will run faster. The latency of your project will be high. Means the user will get to see your project a little bit fast compared to others, compared to what you have used through the TTF. So suppose if you have obtained a font which has got extension TTF, then you need to convert that into WFF or WFF2 for that one. So how do you do that thing? So for that one, let us go to the website called as fontscholar.com. Again, it will be the description, and you have to upload that font over here. I'll upload that. So it is inside the, we have got the font over here. I will upload that, and after uploading, now what kind of format do you need over here? So optimal recommended setting for performance and speed. And yes, the font I am uploading is legally eligible for web embedding. Downloader kit. It takes some time for conversion. It has converted. Let me download the zip folder. Let me go to the folder once again. We have got the wave font, extract that. And after extracting that font, you will see there that we have got the font over here. We have got WAFF and WAFF2. And let me copy this one and include it inside my font, Control V, and after that in VS Code, I will change that name over here. The name will be Super Middle Wave Font WFF2. And if you go to the website, you will get to see that it will load faster than other font over here. Let me refresh this so it will load a little bit faster. Now, how? Now, let me see over here. Like, if you compare the size also of these two font, you will see that this super midwall, that is the TTF extension, have got size of 225 kilobyte, and same like that WFF2, this has got the size of 47 kilobyte over here. You can compare between these two extensions, and you could see that WFF2 is the best extension for using the font into your projects. So whenever you are using font into your project, never forget to convert it into this extension for better experience to the user. Thank you for listening to till today. Or we'll get to see another topic tomorrow. Thank you.